Welcome back to the Pizza After Midnight podcast. This is Rob, one of your hosts. Joining me as always, my handsome two gentlemen and co-host Isaac and Patrick. What's going on, guys?
Yo,
Hey, what's going on with you?
This is actually take two, guys. So we had a little bit of. Is it resolved on your end, Patrick, or is it still doing it?
I still taste copper. I don't know.
Okay.
It's
Nah.
it's all good.
Well, I tried. Um, yeah, Isaac, what are you drinking, and how was your week, man?
it was all right. I'm drinking Glenfiddich 15-year Scotch.
Okay.
It's not
What
bad.
is that like a good one, bad one, middle of the road?
It is, I will say, middle of the road. It's not bad at all. It's not. It didn't make my top five list.
Okay. Okay.
It's good though.
It's definitely
Um,
better than what I drink.
isn't this you're back in the wagon of doing this?
Yeah, I'm trying to be. I mean, I am not on call this weekend, so I get to have a drink.
Okay, all right, fair enough. What about you, Patrick? Drinking slash week.
Oh, the week was crazy. I had
Hmm.
Father's Day, did a bunch of stuff. Working on the house. I had my driveway tore up. The entire driveway's stone right now. They widened it so I can get two vehicles side by side, put a retaining wall in. They're still working on that, but a couple of weeks they'll be back to do the pavement and be done with it. And the basement is my office is under construction, buddy. I have a contractor here working away.
Woo! We're excited
Hmm.
for that.
Yeah, me
So is
too.
this going to be? Are you like? What's your vision for this? Are you going all out with like just your office slash gaming room? Is it going to be a shared space? What's going on?
No, it's just my office slash gaming room, and it's going to be a darker,
That's going to be dope.
more comfortable. With
Then in the
um,
middle of the kitchen.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you planning on doing like any LEDs or anything like that?
I don't know. Well, so I'm doing LED. We It's funny. I ripped the whole drop ceiling out, and we put in rafters. We're going to put um, LED can lights. So I
Okay.
have them. I have the transistors or whatever the resistors, whatever the box is mounted
Yep.
already on all of them. We have one leg already run. I have to run one more, and but I ripped out an entire wall because the wall had really old wallpaper stuff. Which I don't know if you've ever dealt with the older type wallpaper. Like the the glue and everything forms another piece of wallpaper, and if you take it off, it rips the drywall apart.
Hmm.
Um, so that's gutted. I took the door out. All the bad electric is out, so I feel better about that already. And we are just pushing along, man. I think in a month or so, we should have something resembling an office.
Hey man, that's awesome. It'd be nice to have your own little space. I like having this in my house where I can kind of escape from everyone, the world, the dogs, the wife, everything. Um,
Yep.
and then Isaac still got his. Where you're downstairs.
Yeah, this is my multi-purpose room.
You're multi-purpose. That's a good term for it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm not gonna be happy Epic until you get like those octagon LED lights hanging on the
Oh yeah.
wall that like hook
Dude,
together and stuff.
my one of my best friends there, Tom.
Mhm.
He literally 3D printed a bunch of like those type of things for his wall, and he bought the octagon LED ones, and he made
Mhm.
this massive wall display that he has in his office.
That's awesome.
Um, I feel so inadequate though. Like I was like, I might get some string lights and throw up.
I
Like
know, and it's like Christmas
Stranger
lights that are.
Things.
I get them from the Dollar General.
Yeah, right.
They're blinking on and off, trying to fucking communicate with the upside down. Um,
Each one takes a battery.
yeah, yeah. And then, well, I understand how you feel because I got a corner shelf. Then Isaac had to fucking go and get one and then immediately show me up. And
Yep.
his looks like majestic, and there's everything sealed and pristine.
I
Meanwhile, I
slept,
just
dude. I
stacked
slept in
everything.
that room. I slept in that room, and I just stared at it all night.
Yeah, yeah. You gave him my bed.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's multi-purpose.
Don't worry, I hugged the pillow. I could smell you, so it was
That's
nice.
fair enough. That's nice. All right. Well, anyway, um, yeah, that's exciting, man.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm pretty stoked, and it's not it's fun doing the work too. So this guy's one of Ben's best friends, like rally friends, and he introduced me to him, and he's a good dude, and
he cut you a deal.
yeah, for the most part, yeah, we're
Cool.
hourly type thing and just working through it slowly.
Yeah. Does he count when you guys take breaks and play Magic the Gathering, or is it just
Um, Probably, actually.
probably? Yeah.
Now
I
that you mention it.
I only say that because you guys know I've been playing Guild Wars with Diggler a lot the past couple weeks, and every Saturday night he goes out to like this town that's 40 minutes away. He lives in Alabama, so I didn't even know they knew what Magic the Gathering was in Alabama. But every Saturday night he goes and plays with a bunch of his friends Magic, and it's kind of been giving me that itch. But I haven't played since like fourth edition, but when you and I played, and
Baron
when
Singer.
like I had my Mountain Goat starter deck, and they have something called Commanders now. I don't know what that is, but apparently it's like you.
Hmm.
The Commanders do. I don't know, man. It's confusing, but I want to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, we can always try if I
Yeah,
can buy the
yeah.
cards.
I mean, I'm just thinking like we play Magic Arena, which is on the computer where they're digital.
Yeah, let's do it. Isaac,
I'm
do
down.
it too.
Is it on mobile?
I've been trying to get him to play. Yes, it is on mobile actually.
Yep.
I've been trying to get him to play Marvel Snap for a while, so we'll
Hmm.
see if he does this.
So,
Epic. It's your week.
so I want to caution everybody. This may bring up some tough feelings and rough awareness of like your thought of history and the timeline that we actually know from World War II on, and just a tale of caution before we start. And I'm going to set the scene here. So, it's Berlin, April 30th, 1945. Above ground, the world is tearing itself apart. The Red Army is blocks away from the Reich Chancellery. Shelling continues, turning the city into dust. But below ground, 50 feet, inside a reinforced concrete bunker, the air is thick with sweat, diesel fumes, and the smell of impending doom. According to history books, at approximately 3:30 p.m., Adolf Hitler and his new bride, Eva Braun, locked themselves in the private quarters. Minutes later, a single gunshot echoed throughout the hallway. By midnight, their bodies had been carried up to the garden, doused in petrol, and burned beyond recognition. Case closed. The tyrant was dead. World War II in Europe was over. Except maybe it wasn't so simple.
I don't. I'm getting nervous already, and I wish we had like. Can anyone here play piano? Can we get some sound effects in here? Remember, I could play that one Linkin Park song on piano, but
You can.
just the first part of it. That
Yeah.
just
We
that.
do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll
So
throw that in.
Okay.
two, 2 months later, half a world away, a massive crowd gathers at the Potsdam Conference. U.S. President Harry Truman turns to Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin and asked a direct question. Is it true? Is Hitler dead? Stalin turns and looks him directly in the eye and gives a chilling, unexpected response. No, he is alive. He escaped, probably to Spain or perhaps, ... Argentina. So
He said that?
he did. So we're going to dive into this a little bit today. For decades, mainstream history dismissed Stalin's words as mere political theater, as a ruse against the Allies to make them fear and worry. We were told the evidence of Hitler's suicide was ironclad. But when the Cold War ended and thousands of classified files began trickling out of the FBI and CIA vaults, a different story started to take shape. Many files detailing late-night German U-boat landings on the wind-swept, forgotten beaches of Patagonia. Reports from frantic informants claiming they helped a clean-shaven, aging dictator off a submarine and into a heavily guarded compound hidden deep in the Andes Mountains. Local legends in isolated South American towns of a reclusive, local legends tell of a reclusive, wealthy German elite who arrived in the winter of 1945 and never left. So Did the most hated man in the human history really slip through the Allied dragnet in a cloud of smoke and mirrors? Did he trade a fiery death in Berlin for an obscure peaceful retirement in South America? Or is this the most elaborate, seductive conspiracy theory ever created? So today we're going to talk about the smoke in Berlin. Did Hitler really escape?
No, I think I was actually roommates with him in SUNY Cobleskill.
I guarantee it. That seems like where he would go.
This is an interesting topic for me, and I look forward to what you have to say, because this is one of those things that you always hear, like one of those always like conspiracy theories you always hear that seems like it's not far out of the realm of possibility, right? It's not. This could have happened. We don't know. We didn't live in that time. And like they were doing the same thing with Osama bin Laden for a while. I think he's definitely dead, but maybe I don't know anything. But I'm interested in this. Go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really important to say that we're not here to rewrite history, right? We're just here to talk about the files, talk about the coordinates of his locations that we think, and follow paper trail. So things that happened. So let's pull out some chairs, let's open some case files, and let's go down this rabbit hole. So the idea that Adolf Hitler escaped Berlin and lived out his life in Patagonia, Argentina, is one of the history's most enduring alternative theories. While mainstream historians reject this, relying on Soviet records, eyewitness testimony from the bunker, and dental identification, proponents of the Hitler in Argentina theory base their arguments on a specific set of declassified documents, geopolitical realities, and archaeological lore. So we're going to jump into some of these different items that really give some credence to what happened. And the reason I chose this whole topic is because I've been having insomnia, right? So I've been awake at night, and I've been watching different podcasts and different YouTube videos and deep dives. And one of them was talking about these special submarines that Germany built towards the end of the war. Now, there was basically two in particular that they basically stripped very, very much down. So it had more fuel, more range, and the ability to stay underwater for greater lengths. They also talked about having quarters put in these, like, sleeping quarters for very important people, things like that. And this was U-530 and U-977. U stands for underwater boat, or Uba, I don't know, underwater boat, that's fine. So U-530 and U-977 in July of August 1945, these two German U-boats surrendered to the Argentine Navy at Mar del Plata. Theorists argue that these vessels, or others, were allegedly scuttled secretly along the coast of Nocheca, they were part of a ghost convoy. And this has actually been proven pretty true. So these subs were part of a ghost convoy that were ferrying high-ranking Nazi officials, including Hitler and Eva Braun, out of Europe before the fall of the Third Reich. I don't know if you've dug into this on YouTube and different places. There's somebody that went out to this area in Argentina, and they speak German. There are white people living there that speak German, all in this one town, and they're all from Germany at the fall. So, it's important to remember that Argentina didn't join World War II until the very, very end, almost like 2 months before the war ended. And, yep.
How convenient.
Well, they were pretty much bullied into it. So, when this did happen, that's why these U-boats decided to go there. That's the main reason they were going there, because they thought they'd be treated better by the Argentinians than they would anybody else, right? If they showed up at in America, they would be exiled, treated horribly, but which turned out not to be true. If you look into Operation Paperclip and all these other things, they were treated perfectly, given high-ranking jobs in NASA, all these kind of cool things. Which were horrible for us because these guys are really bad guys. But these two submarines basically turned up in Argentina. They pulled in, surrendered. They had no weapons. So, an interesting fact: when we'll talk about U-530, I think it was U-530 that was it was a decorated sub that had sunk many convoys. Was operating outside of New York at a time. So it came back, got retrofitted, and it had one last mission before the end of the war. It left Berlin right before the fall, headed to New York, sat out by New York for a while. When the broadcast stating the end of the war happened, they claimed they didn't hear it. So they continued down the coast of America into the southern the Caribbean, and basically stripped anything of importance out of their boat. They surfaced, dropped all their maps, dropped all like encryption things, any weapons they basically ditched overboard, and continued down into Argentina, where they, in the middle of the night, pulled into Argentina with a white flag up and surrendered their boat and mysteriously disembarked and disappeared. So this happened twice. This happened with U-530 and U-977. U-977, I believe, was later. It was like a couple months later that this happened. They were apparently at sea for a longer time, and they went down the south of Africa and then over, or something like that. But these two boats really paint a picture and kind of solidify the fact that we know that these Germans escaped Germany and they lived in Argentina. So what do you guys think of that?
So we know that there are some Germans that actually did this, but the theory is like was Hitler with them, or like that's the question, right?
Right. Who was it, right? Were these just,
Yeah.
military guys that were just like, okay, this is bad. We're leaving. Let's go.
Yeah.
But it just seems really weird that, normal conscripts would be like, let's take this secretly retrofitted boat that's basically extended range that we don't usually go in, leave Berlin right before the fall in the dead of night, travel to the coast of America, and work our way down into Argentina, even though the war ended like 3 or 4 weeks before when we pulled into Argentina with our flag up in the middle of night, got like in the middle of the night with a flag up, no weapons on board, no documents, no clothes, no nothing. They disembarked and they were allowed to leave the boat by Argentina officials and disappeared. Pretty suspicious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rob, what do you think?
I mean, it's like hiding in plain sight type of thing, right? Like you leave, and no one's going to expect you to land in the coast of America during World War II, especially if you're German. Um, I was always on the fence with stuff like this. Part of me is like, back then, our surveillance and our technology wasn't as good as it is now, right? Of course. So
Mhm.
I feel like it would have been a lot easier for this to happen. So it's entirely plausible.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's jump into the dental records really quick.
Okay.
The official account says that the
And before you get into that, will say the one thing that bothers me most about this whole thing is the one gunshot and two people in the.
so the theory, and we'll talk about that. So the theory of what happened there is Hitler gave Ava poison. Was that I believe,
Oh yeah.
or
Cyanide.
he took the poison and shot Ava? I don't remember, but one of those. And that was the whole, end of the Third Reich and the end of evil, and the easy way to wrap it up for the Allies, right? Okay, it's done, it's over, we're good. But it's weird for that to happen, then immediately their, fellow soldiers would pull them out of the bunker, take them up into a garden, and burn them alive, or burn their bodies until they're ash, until they're barely recognizable. Why would you do that unless you're trying to hide something and try to, you're trying not to make a martyr, right? So this is what they did with Osama bin Laden too. They wrapped him in a rug and not threw him overboard.
Yeah, and that was, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that like to kind of respect religious stuff? I don't know.
I don't know, but he didn't respect anybody else's religion when he
Yeah,
did his thing.
I'm pretty
So
sure that they gave him like a Muslim send off on the ship that he was on.
they said they did, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why they
whether it's
said
true or not, I don't know. But
right. Who knows? It's weird that the whole SEAL Team 6 has basically
and
been eliminated.
I have another
But
question about the whole Hitler thing. I was listening to a podcast, um, probably a couple months ago, so I might not be remembering correctly. But wasn't Hitler big into like the occult? Like he was sending people to look for like relics in these places that were supposedly occult relics.
yes. So
Yeah.
Hitler, the entire Third Reich, and I don't remember the guy's name, but one of their generals in particular, was it Himmler or one? Like he was obsessed with the occult. They went
Okay.
across the entire world trying to dig for things. They went to the whole like Egypt campaign and all these different campaigns where he went to find the Holy Grail. He went to find these different relics to prove it was right. I mean, hell, they even went to the Antarctica, which is another theory that was kind of weird. So like this is part of their things. They didn't just do a normal everyday war thing. This wasn't like Saddam Hussein, who we have pictures of in his bunker, and things like that. This is a mysterious, horribly evil organization that thankfully was defeated. So the dental records, right? So Eva Braun or Eva, whatever you want to, basically, her and Hitler were burned beyond recognition. And the Soviets said they took their remains and verified their dental records with Hitler's personal dentist. Now, it's come out later in this, and I was reading an article about this, that they think that Hitler's skull was female, that the
Wow.
features on Hitler's skull and the dental work were recent, and that the skull was a female's skull
What?
because it
Who
was smaller.
who who came out? That wasn't the Soviets that said that. Who came out with
This
that?
was this was in 2010, when they declassified all these files and things like that. All this information was in there, including information from eyewitness accounts, which we'll talk about very shortly, and other things like that. So it's pretty. It kind of spells out very clearly that even though the official account was to try to sew a perfect picture and a perfect ending for this war, for the Allies, that might not have happened, and it might not have happened because we didn't want it to happen. If you look at Operation Paperclip and all of the high-ranking Nazis and rocket scientists and development people that we basically took into America and let them run NASA, run our rocket programs, run our military, these gentlemen basically catapulted America to where it is now, right? There's a reason why we won the space race, if you believe in that and everything, which I do. But there's reasons why we were able to do these rocket programs so well because the Germans were doing them way, way, way before any other country really got into it. Our V2 rocket at the time was crap. It had like a range of a couple hundred miles. Like it was short. It was a short range device. It had no aiming mechanism, no ability to steer, and no gyro compass or anything. But the V2 rocket and the later editions, including like the ME 262 and the ME, I forget what the plane was. That was the little rocket plane. It was like a little buzz, but they performed flawlessly. And the V2 was the most feared weapon that Germany had. They murdered so many British citizens, French citizens, and that was feared beyond anything. Because I mean, if you look now, we talk about drones, right? The drone warfare that we see going on in wars today with Ukraine, Russia, Iran, and everything in Israel and things like that. This has occurred before. It wasn't run by AI and it wasn't run by somebody sitting at a computer, but this was done. They basically coordinated drone strikes using V2 rockets on all of Europe, and they terrorized them for years. And just like some of these drone strikes now, these weren't aimed at military targets. They were aimed at civilian infrastructure to basically cause terror and cause their will to break. Just like carpet bombing, like fire bombing, like napalm in Vietnam, things like that. You know, there's reasons why we don't, by the Geneva Accords and things like that, use those anymore. But drones are huge now. So far we got the subs. We have dental records that may not be true. Let's talk a little bit about the stuff that happened in South America. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Incolo House. And I don't know if that's how you really say it, but it's basically the Patagonian Berghof, which is Berghof's like a mansion in the hills. As you know, Hitler had the Eagle's Nest, right, which was a huge mansion up in the top of the Alps that was fortified and hard to find. That's where he was almost killed the first time with that suitcase bomb that we tried to blow him up and assassinate him. But there is, I got to get back up on my screen here. Deep in the remote forest of Villa La Agostura, I can't say it, near San Carlos del Boloche, sits a secluded lakefront mansion called the Incolo House. It was designed in 1943 by architect Alejandro Bustulio. You know Alejandro, Rob. This house features a layout that is eerily reminiscent of Hitler's Alpine residence in Bavaria. The Berghof, including connected bedrooms, specific bathroom layouts, and towering lakeside vantage point. It almost identically coincides with what was built in the Berghof. So,
Sounds to me like he was hanging out with that lady with the weird house with all the rooms that go nowhere.
the Winchester lady?
Yeah, the Winchester lady. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the times are a little different, but maybe possible. I think he just wasn't a good art student and kind of pissed him off, and which caused this whole thing. So be kind to your students, teachers.
Yeah.
This property was linked to various German businessmen and prominent figures close to Argentine President Juan Perón, who famously allowed Nazi rat lines to operate. These helped figures like Adolf Eichmann and Jose Mengele escape to South America.
Jose?
These are high-ranking Nazis that the president of Argentina at the time allowed to escape, and that's where all these rat lines were set up. They call them rat lines because they're rats, right? They let them in and escape prosecution in Germany. So a lot of this is kind of trying to be dismissed as early Soviet disinformation. And Soviets are very good at disinformation. Just look at their military right now and what they're going through, right? They said they had technology beyond everything, and they do, but do they? They're having trouble. So the rumors of Hitler's escape actually started at the very top of Allied forces. In June 1945, Soviet Marshal Gregor Zhukov stated to the press that they had not found Hitler's body and that he could still be alive in Spain or South America. Again, Joseph Stalin repeated this claim at the Potsdam Conference, stating Hitler was likely hiding in Argentina. So that's a pretty damning statement from top officials in the Soviet Union. Now, we know Soviets and allies at the time did not get along, and they had a lot of issues, right? Which led to the Berlin Wall, things like that. The reality check of this is we know there was at the time a very deliberate campaign of Soviet disinformation. Stalin wanted to keep the West on edge and maintain an air of mystery, even though Soviet forces had secretly retrieved and identified Hitler's dental remains in Berlin in 1945, which we already talked about. So that was the prior thought. And now that we know that maybe, possibly, those dental remains weren't his, maybe this wasn't disinformation. So, another story.
So, I mean, let's unpack this a little bit. I mean, if you had said that he was hiding out in Ecuador, knowing Catherine, I would have believed you immediately.
Hmm.
Like he must have taught them everything he knows because she is the worst.
Yeah.
She's so
No.
mean. No.
No.
It besides the fact that it would be difficult to do to hide your own, especially a person of his stature. There's a lot of moving parts to what he needed to do to escape, right? Like he had to basically go under the Axis forces' noses and everybody else just to try to get away. So that is why I'm like, did he really type of thing? But who knows? Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's not an interruption. I need some, feedback here. I want to talk about this. Isaac, what do you
Yeah.
think?
He doesn't. He has to collect his thoughts before he says anything on this podcast ever.
I
It's
see
weird.
him. Yep,
I'm
I
just-
see him.
Just focused on the Stalin part because that is a really, really good strategy to keep the allies on their heels, right?
Yep.
Right.
You're sowing discord, confusion, and meanwhile he's trying to, get aggressive in Europe and start taking over Europe really.
Mhm.
And if the allies still think Hitler's out there, then it kind of lets his efforts maybe go under the radar a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's I mean at the end of the day everything's politics, right? And that's exactly
Yeah.
what this is too. He could. I don't ever see Stalin being any sort of ally. Like, oh yeah, Hitler's still alive out there. Blah blah blah. So whatever he's doing with that is entirely self-serving.
Yeah,
Somehow.
exactly.
Whether it's him just being able to get a foothold because we're busy looking for Hitler or what,
Yes. Yep, exactly that. And then at that time, we're still trying to figure out, we as the world are just trying to figure out what penalties we're going to bring down on Germany, right? Like how are we
even
going to make them pay for that? So and Stalin wants them to go down, right? So he's trying to use that to get stiffer penalties against Germany too.
And it's tough too because you're most of the German, like the German population, they didn't want any part of what Hitler was doing, right? Like they
No.
there were a lot of bad eggs
I
in
think
the
there's-
actual military.
I think there was a lot of hatred and a lot of you got to understand the situation Germany was in after World War One, right? After they lost and they had all these sanctions and all these devastating things happening and famines and basically Europeans telling them, no, you can't do this, you can't do anything, you're not allowed to build anything, you have to live in poverty now, you have to live in horrible. So there was a lot of Germans that were on board with this. And I'm not saying that everybody was. And I'm not saying especially the whole genocide part. I don't think a lot of people were with that. But as in any country, that's your military, that's your country. You're going to fight for your country. And they were very brainwashed into that.
Yeah.
But also, weren't there like a lot of Germans that were hiding Jewish in their houses and stuff as well?
Yep.
I dated a German for a little while, and of course, all my questions for her are not about her life when we're getting to know each other, but how much of a Nazi she is, which annoyed her. But she said even today they kind of still have that stigma from people around the world that Germans are Nazis, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Well, I mean, it all boils down to naming your hospital the Krankenhaus. Krankenhaus or the Krankenwagen, which is your ambulance. There's a lot of weird stuff there. But yeah, no, there's a lot of hatred and there's a lot of stereotypical stuff. And Germany has a ton of laws to prevent stuff like this from happening and from the dangers of this. In the world we live in right now is kind of weird because Germany's alt-right is actually starting to come to power again because things have been so bad over the past 10 years with the economies and Russia and all these wars going on and immigration and violence against people. The alt-right there has started to kind of predominantly put themselves forward again. And, there's talks, these laws that were passed, you can't display the Nazi flag. You can't display any Nazi paraphernalia, and you can't. I don't even think you can't even have a swastika there. It's highly illegal, and you can't talk hate like these guys did. It's against the law because they know that this could happen again, and you learn from history, right? You go to their museums. I went to the Stop museums in the Steinhauser. There are two of them. They're really basically have all the World War II stuff and airplanes, things like that. They're allowed to display, like a Nazi symbol, but a lot of them are just painted with a German cross, like the old days, to kind of eliminate that because they don't want that propaganda. They don't want that ideology and that rhetoric to
Do
take hold.
do Germans like in school? Do they kind of celebrate their history as this was our past, this is where we came from, type of thing?
I
I
don't.
don't use the word celebrate like
Yeah, yeah. I know what you
woo,
meant. Yeah,
just
well,
like
they
we
talk about it.
with Hiroshima, we're like that probably wasn't great, nowadays, but it's a part of our history. You know, we vaporized a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah. Um,
Just
yeah, we
curious, because
vaporized.
you have, I think, the most German knowledge out of the three of us, and you have gone there a couple times. So
Yeah, my
just curious
best,
what
my
you
best.
think.
So, if anybody doesn't know, my best friend moved over there with his family a few years ago, and I've traveled over 2 or 3 times to visit him, and I've been trying to learn German to talk to
Hmm.
him more. Um, and I
Kind of
you know I
weird. I
love
thought we were your best friends, but okay, go
well
ahead.
one of my best friends. You are my best friends,
Mhm.
but it is a different way of life, right? And even like in modern Germany today, it's very old school living. Like
Hmm.
if you go down to the southern Germany, it's not like the hustle and bustle here. It's modern, but it's not. It's different. It's
Yeah.
nice, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
I,
I
everything I've seen from Germany, from Yulia and you, it's a beautiful place.
mhm.
Um, I love the outside markets and everything like that.
Oh,
I'm just curious of how they felt about this.
yeah. I really don't know. I know the Germans
Okay.
themselves are very ashamed and not. It's not like a couple people that we talked about last night. They're not like proud of what happened.
Sure.
They're sure they're proud of their family for fighting for their country, but for what happened to, like the extermination and the prosecution and the just basically murder and genocide of an entire population of people and even people that were like, people that were mentally deficient or, their skin color was different. These
Hmm.
people were killed because of who they were. And that's not Germany. That is a rhetoric that comes from a very dangerous place, and it comes from poverty and desolation, and somebody coming up that knows who to blame. Right. So we're kind of seeing it today with politics today. We have to blame somebody for our problems. Who are you going to blame? And at the time, the Jewish people were very prominent in Germany, and like Germany was almost half Jewish. Like the entire northern and southern part, like they had businesses everywhere. They're the part of the community. That's like us. We're America's cool because it's like just a melting pot of different people, and it works. And they had to have somebody to blame. Hitler had to have somebody to blame Germany's problems on, and he chose them. And it started slowly, worked its way up, and eventually led to the extermination of
Do we
you know
do we know like why? Like why he had such a thing against Jewish people?
I
I
don't know.
don't. Did
I
something happen to him? Did one like accidentally run over his dog with their bike when he was a kid? I don't know.
Probably because they were very high in power at the time, and they were the opposition power. Probably they
Okay.
were the people that had the businesses that were rich, that were still doing well because they managed their money and managed
And,
things and
and did
could
Hitler grow
prosecute.
up in poverty?
What's that?
Did Hitler grow up in poverty?
I don't know. I know he went to our school in Bavaria and he failed, and that's when everything went bad.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry,
So
just curious.
yeah. Um, so on the whole misinformation thing, like let's talk about what the Nazis said when Hitler, died. You know, the Hitler's death was officially announced by the Supreme Commander of the Navy, Admiral Karl Donitz. The Nazi leaders.
Donuts?
Donut. That's exact.
Donuts.
Donuts.
Donuts. The Nazi
Man,
leader.
I don't know why I want a donut right now.
Do you? Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
You want a German donut?
What is
The
that?
Nazi leader's designated successor. So he's the one that took over for Hitler after his death.
Okay.
Simply stated, he said the Führer had died fighting at the head of his troops in Berlin. But that wasn't true, was it?
No. Yeah, but does that because he wanted to keep up the mystique? Because there's all those
Right,
tall
right.
tales about Hitler. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
sure the
yeah.
Soviets would love that. Too,
Another
right?
random side note is like, it always stresses me out going into a building where I know the previous chef was a dickhead. Could you imagine how this guy felt filling Hitler's
God.
shoes?
You know, hey, that's a great point. You know, we need to make that clear too. A lot of these, the heads in the Nazi party and the German army at the time, they tried to kill Hitler multiple times. Like we had assassination attempts over and over. That's why he became so paranoid towards the end of the war, and that's why he kind of screwed up. Right? He screwed up attacking the Soviets. You know, he shouldn't have done that because there was no way for him to fight both sides and win.
Right.
It was losing
Right.
from the get-go, which is why he tried to pull Japan into it. Because as we know, Japan actually borders Russia, right?
Right.
And so,
And Japan used to not like us. There was some stuff.
oh yeah, well, Japan was vicious, man. This culture, we can get into a whole discussion on Japan sometime, but the rape in Nanking, the murders and just devastation that they did in Asia.
I actually have a topic picked out. I'm not going to talk about it now, but it's about Japan and some of the projects they were doing on humans, like live humans and things like that, and experiments. It's crazy, and it's heartbreaking. So we're definitely going to have a big disclaimer in front of that one. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But yeah, that's a different rabbit hole that we'll go down. That's a really cool rabbit hole that we really should talk about, anyways. But so we know there's a ton of disinformation going on, and we know all these different theories about what happened, and we know what the official account is. Right? They killed themselves in a bunker. His fellow soldiers dragged him to the plaza and basically doused him in gasoline so he couldn't be used as a martyr or hang from the rafter thing, like how we did with like Mussolini and things like that. We used him as a tool, right? We did things with his body, hung him and all that kind of stuff. So same thing with Saddam and different dictators through the thing. And so that's the official story. But there's all these other weird little things that keep happening, and these weird little sightings that happened all throughout, like the early 1900s, like 1950s and 60s. So there was a really good book called Grey Wolf, The Escape of Adolf Hitler. And it argues a highly specific timeline, right? It's very detailed. It's very oriented. And if you get a chance to watch the movie based on this and read the book, it really goes into it in pretty detailed information. The book claims that Hitler changed his appearance, which coincides with what the eyewitness accounts were. He lived in a hacienda in San Roman initially. So he lived in the city in a hacienda. Then he moved to the Incolo house and eventually died in obscurity in February 1962 at the age of 73, leaving behind children with Eva Braun. So the historical verdict on this, right? So this is what do the historians think about this book and this theory? So while Argentina undeniably became a safe haven for hundreds of high-ranking Nazis, so we know that there was we know there's villages in Argentina that only speak German and Spanish. They speak highly fluent German. There's white people living there. There's people in compounds all this different stuff. It exists today. Go take a trip. Don't try to go there because people have done that and they've gotten in trouble by the people that own the place. But whatever. So we know that this has happened. And forensic experts closed the case on Hitler in 2018. A detailed scientific study of the fragments of Hitler's teeth kept in Russian state archives matched his wartime dental records perfectly, confirming he died in a bunker in Berlin in April 30th, 1945. So, first, Hitler's body couldn't be found. Like the Nazis said, the Soviet Union said they took his body, but they don't know where they took it. But now we have fragments of his teeth. So there's all these different little things that just don't add up. And it would be the biggest embarrassment of, even though we didn't live through this generation of people, this would be an embarrassment to me if we let Hitler escape Germany and just live a peaceful life. And that is even more of an embarrassment to the Soviets. And we know how the Soviet Union reacts to embarrassment and how
not well.
Not well at all. And they're not going to let themselves be embarrassed that they let Hitler escape. And same thing with us. And how do you explain that to everybody that was fighting against this man to try to kill him and eliminate and stop the genocides? That, oh yeah, we let him get on a U-boat and we knew where he went. He's in Argentina.
Okay.
He's got a family now. That's cool. He's got syphilis, but he's got a family.
You'd think with all the sightings of him and stuff, you really think he would have shaved that little stupid mustache, but he kept going.
He did.
You know?
No, he shaved it.
Oh, okay.
He changed his appearance, everything. So, a couple things I do want to point out about the sightings, right? And it's kind of a reality check. It's while fascinating, historians point out that the FBI was legally obligated to document every single tip they received during the Cold War, regardless of its credibility. J. Edgar Hoover's files included hundreds of unverified sightings from all over the world. So that they had to do that. So even if it was something, okay, well, we got to document, we got to put it in our files.
That had to have been really annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of their job, right? Everybody's like, oh, they got a great job. They're doing no, it sucks because you got to, then you
One day Hitler's in fucking Calgary. The next day he's in fucking, Hong Kong.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, this is just one of the interesting theories that I've kind of delved into and alternate history, in general, right? Like, how did the pyramids get built? How did all this happen? During the war, who was really responsible for this genocide and this genocide and this? And you kind of you question a lot of what happened. Not really in World War II because that was very documented, right? We have written historical record of it, and World War I even with the Archduke Ferdinand and all the start of that and what happened there. But there's all these beliefs that there's a lot more to the world than we're told, right? We're only told what we're supposed to know, and the story that we're kind of the best foot forward story, right? Like the British always say, put your best foot forward always.
And at the end of the day, too, we only get the news, like you said, that they want to give us, and we unfortunately live in a time too where a lot of the news outlets are very untrustworthy with how they portray things, right? Like I don't think there's a neutral news outlet anymore, to be honest.
No.
One and it's just crazy how they can shift the narrative, still tell the truth, but make it seem in their favor, right?
Yep. Yeah, I kind of believe they're not even telling the truth on things now.
Yeah.
Look at the Epstein files. Look at everything that's going on. There was just a lawsuit the other day. Another Epstein victim came forward and went to the Supreme Court and went all the way through. And the judge ruled, yes, you have to release more files. This has to happen. And all of a sudden, the government goes and appeals it.
Yeah.
Why would you appeal that?
And at the end of the day, I don't know, have you guys looked at the Epstein files? 96% of it is blacked out.
All of it. Yep. It's a travesty. And there's a lot of thoughts there too. Epstein just magically disappeared in the middle of the night out of a secure holding cell, which the camera miraculously decided to stop working for 3 hours or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now the sightings of him, right? We were talking about this the other night. The sightings of Epstein are going
Yeah.
crazy. And
No, I like this stuff, man. I like when you bring history stuff and make us think. And at the end of the day, we'll never know. It's kind of the moral of the story.
all I can say is a lot of evidence points to him escaping. More evidence, I believe, from what I've read and what I've looked at, than him actually dying in a bunker. But
Right, and I'm thankful that the three of us, we have the same viewpoints on a lot of stuff, but we also have very different viewpoints on things, and we can have respectful conversations about it. And you smell like doo doo. No, Isaac, you look like you wanted to say something, brother.
I'm ready. Isaac, lay it on.
I have one. I don't want to throw cold water on the whole thing, but say that's true that he did escape and go to Argentina. My question is like, what does it matter?
Yeah,
Like,
I knew that was coming.
there's
Who
no-
cares?
There's no. I mean, you kind of got into it a little bit with like all the stuff we fought for and all that, but like it didn't end up like affecting anything else. Like he didn't try to rise again in Argentina and start another war from there. So
No, but I think it also, and
Exactly.
Patrick, sorry to cut in front of you. I think it also would affect like the American people's trust of our government, right? Like they told us he was gone, but this dude's just vacationing in Europe. What else aren't they telling? Maybe not Europe. What else aren't they telling us?
yeah, you're assuming though that there's someone that knows that. I was thinking
Right,
more like
right.
more like nobody knew, and then we
Okay.
all found out.
All right, fair enough.
I just threw up a picture of the house that they say he lived in.
Is that my? Oh my God, he settled down and became my little house on the prairie.
That was done. The little house on the prairie was a tiny, like 4x4 or 2x2.
Yeah, one room.
Yeah, but no, this is exactly what houses in southern Berlin look like. So, yeah. And the kid's the owner of this, and this is an interesting article that I read too. It's revelations about this guy's family's darkest secret. They held, housed Hitler, things like that. They sold land to Hitler and things. Dig into it. It's fun. And like you said, Isaac, at the end of the day, the guy was taken out of power. He lost everything that he had and was trying to build. We won, thankfully, and here we are today, living, hopefully a way better life than we would have had if we continued with war for God knows how long.
Do you guys watch Man in the High Castle?
Dude, I was just going to bring that up. I have. What a great show. Well, it got weird at like the later seasons, but my God, that first 2 seasons just like floored me.
Actually, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No,
You got to watch it. You got to watch it.
well, I think it's fitting for this episode.
Do you
So-
guys have you seen The Boy in the Striped Pajamas?
I haven't seen that either.
That'll depress you. Maybe
Stop.
I'll do it for one of my. Maybe I'll do it for one of my.
Have you
No,
seen?
no.
Have you seen The Pianist?
No.
Also a sad movie.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk real quick before we end. Let's talk about the shows that are out right now. Have you guys watching? What's the new Apple show? The Cape or the God
Widow's Bay. We just finished it.
Widows Bay. Yeah. What'd you think?
It's
Haven't
so
started it yet.
funny.
It's so hilarious. Like I didn't
Yeah.
think it was funny at first when I started watching it. Then you told me like, wow, all these references, and then I went back and I watched it again. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
holy
really funny.
crap, these are all throwbacks to like the different horror movies.
It's so funny.
So we'll see what the next season brings. But if Jukes, if
Yeah.
you haven't watched it, watch it. It's great.
It's
Yeah, I
horror
will.
but funny.
I can't stop reading these books right now. So the Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Okay.
Highly recommend. Isaac, have you partaken in it all?
I tried to. It's not in there.
We'll have to figure that out because Huh. Interesting. It should be because it's we share the Apple family thing, so
Yeah, I don't know if like books doesn't count or something. I'm not sure.
it does because I literally put your name in there to send it to you.
Yeah,
It
I
does not
opened
look
it up. I searched for it and go to it, and it's like, yeah, you can buy this if you want. Well,
Have
okay.
you checked your Apple? We can talk about this later. You guys have anything else for the podcast?
Well, so is Fortnite the Simpsons are coming back? I heard.
Well, I'm about to go find out.
Mm-hmm.
We have time now to get a couple games in. If you guys don't have anything else for the pod, I believe the next main episode is Isaac.
That's right.
So I look forward to see what you bring.
As do I.
Reasons why Hitler is dead. Yeah, die.
Let's go through this. Here's a
Yeah.
picture of his dental records. See this little molar?
Yeah, that's
Actually,
where he crushed the cyanide.
I would love for you to do that sometime. Like that would be a really cool rebuttal to like have us throw a wild theory out, and then you come in the next episode and lay out all the scientific facts and just be like, well,
Yeah.
you
It'd be so
know,
funny. What if I just go through our history of episodes and go through all of them?
do a separate podcast. You could do a spin-off
Yeah,
of
yeah.
why these guys are crazy.
Why these guys are idiots. Why my friends are idiots.
That'd be so funny.
All right, guys. As always, be kind to yourselves, each other, and your insides, because Pizza After Midnight's a young man's game. Later.
Peace.
See ya.
Thanks, Patrick. That was awesome, man.